UC225. Your brain screams obviously wrong. But what if the puzzle isn't about math, but about what you assume you're solving? Options: it's a trick question testing if you ignore context. The answer is definitely 4, math doesn't lie, it's impossible, so there's no real puzzle, you need more information to judge. The correct answer is it's a trick question testing if you ignore context. Most assume they're solving math. They're not. The paradox exploits your automatic pattern matching. IQ traps work by making you defend the wrong battle. A person scores 160 on an IQ test but fails at basic life decisions. How is this possible? Your instinct IQ must be fake. But what are you really missing? Options: IQ only measures narrow logical patterns, not wisdom or judgment. The test was administered incorrectly. High IQ people are naturally smarter at everything. This scenario can't actually happen. The correct answer is IQ only measures narrow logical patterns, not wisdom or judgment. You conflate IQ with intelligence itself. IQ is a measurement of speed and pattern recognition, nothing more. It doesn't predict common sense, emotional awareness, or real-world success. The paradox: raw processing power, practical wisdom. Everyone agrees the answer is obviously A. But if everyone thinks that, why would it be the trap in a paradox problem? Options: because consensus often reveals the trap, not the truth, because smart people always disagree with the crowd, because A is actually correct when everyone agrees, because paradoxes don't follow normal logic. The correct answer is because consensus often reveals the trap, not the truth. The IQ paradox exploits social proof. Your brain trusts majority opinion as a shortcut. In paradox problems, unanimity is the warning sign. People fail because they outsource thinking to the group. You think faster than average and solve it quickly. Does speed mean you solved it correctly, or fell into the speed trap? Options: speed and pattern matching often means you missed the actual question. Fast thinking always leads to correct answers. Speed and accuracy are directly proportional. The question itself determines whether speed helps. The correct answer is speed and pattern matching often means you missed the actual question. IQ paradoxes punish fast thinking. Your brain pattern matches to the first solution it recognizes. Slower reflection reveals the hidden assumption. Speed, accuracy, and paradox logic. Most fail because they trusted their reflex. The puzzle seems to have no answer. You feel frustrated. Does that frustration mean the puzzle is broken, or that you're in exactly the trap it designed? Options: the frustration is the clue you're asking the wrong question entirely. A well-designed puzzle always has a clear answer. Frustration means you're too tired to solve it. The puzzle genuinely has no solution. The correct answer is the frustration is the clue you're asking the wrong question entirely. Paradoxes create cognitive dissonance on purpose. Your frustration signals you're trapped in a false framework. The trap isn't the answer, it's the question itself. Most fail because they blame the puzzle instead of their assumptions. You apply logic and get answer C. Your friend applies the same logic and gets answer D. You can't both be right using the same method. So what's happening? Options: you're starting with different hidden assumptions, not different logic. One of you is simply less intelligent. Logic always produces identical results. The puzzle is poorly designed. The correct answer is you're starting with different hidden assumptions, not different logic. Logic is only as good as its premises. IQ paradoxes work by hiding assumptions inside the question. You and your friend use the same logic on different starting points. Most fail because they never question their initial framework. You've seen variations of this puzzle before. You recognize the pattern. Does recognizing it mean you understand the trap? Options: pattern recognition and paradox understanding are completely different skills. Recognizing patterns always means you've solved the puzzle. Familiarity with similar puzzles guarantees success. There's no difference between pattern and understanding. The correct answer is pattern recognition and paradox understanding are completely different skills. Expertise in IQ tests can become a liability. You recognize patterns so fast your brain skips the actual logic. You think you understand because it feels familiar. Most fail because they mistake recognition for comprehension. The correct answer violates what seems like basic common sense. Should you trust the answer, or trust your instincts? Options: you should examine why common sense fails in this specific case. Common sense is always reliable. Test answers are always wrong when they contradict intuition. You should trust your gut over logic. The correct answer is you should examine why common sense fails in this specific case. Common sense evolved for 2D social problems, not abstract logic. Paradoxes expose the limits of intuition. The weird answer is weird because your intuition was trained on the wrong dataset. Most fail because they defend their instinct instead of upgrading it. You explain your answer confidently. A child asks, but why? You can't answer without contradicting yourself. What does this reveal? Options: you understood the pattern but never questioned the logic underneath. The child is being intentionally difficult. Some answers can't be explained to non-experts. You actually were correct despite the contradiction. The correct answer is you understood the pattern but never questioned the logic underneath. If you can't explain it simply, you haven't understood it deeply. IQ paradoxes expose shallow reasoning. Most people memorize answers or recognize patterns without ever building genuine understanding. Inability to explain is the real diagnostic of failure. You solve it, feel brilliant, then realize days later that your logic was completely flawed. Why didn't you catch it immediately? Options: your brain locked in on the first plausible solution and stopped questioning. Time changes the correct answer to paradox questions. You were actually right and second-guessing yourself. This situation proves IQ tests are meaningless. The correct answer is your brain locked in on the first plausible solution and stopped questioning. Cognitive closure: once your brain finds a satisfying answer, it stops examining alternatives. The initial brilliant feeling prevented deeper scrutiny. Most fail IQ paradoxes because they celebrate the first coherent solution. Rigor requires discomfort. A student answers 90 of IQ test questions correctly but scores below average. How is this possible? Options: the test was too easy and didn't measure real intelligence. Time pressure matters more than accuracy. They rushed through harder items. They got the hardest questions wrong, which carry exponential weight. The scoring system was broken. The correct answer is they got the hardest questions wrong, which carry exponential weight. IQ tests don't weigh all answers equally. Difficult problems count far more. Missing one hard question can drop your score dramatically more than missing 5 easy ones. Intuition assumes more correct higher score. Wrong. Why do people with high reading comprehension often fail pattern recognition IQ sections? Options: pattern recognition requires a different brain hemisphere. They overthink and search for meaning where none exists. Reading skill and spatial reasoning share no neural overlap. The test measures different cognitive domains independently. The correct answer is they overthink and search for meaning where none exists. Verbal strength becomes a trap. Readers impose narrative logic onto abstract patterns, seeing stories that aren't there. The skill that helped them excel becomes interference. Intuition: smart in one area, smart everywhere. Reality domains don't transfer. People who practice IQ tests obsessively often plateau or score lower on the real test. Why? Options: practice tests are always easier than the real version. Anxiety builds as stakes increase. They memorize patterns instead of understanding logic. Transfer fails. The brain gets tired from repetition. The correct answer is they memorize patterns instead of understanding logic. Transfer fails. Drilling teaches surface tactics, not reasoning. When patterns shift slightly on test day, memorized rules collapse. It's like learning chess openings without understanding principles. Intuition, more practice, better results. Truth, shallow practice can destroy actual performance. Why do people who feel confident during the test almost always underestimate their final score? Options: confidence is a sign of overconfidence bias. Hard problems feel fluent when you're wrong. E signals danger, not competence. The brain avoids admitting failure. Test anxiety returns after it ends. The correct answer is hard problems feel fluent when you're wrong. E signals danger, not competence. Paradox: easy feeling answers are often wrong. When you're confused, you're actually engaging deeply. Fluent reasoning during the test suggests you're coasting on weak logic. Intuition: I felt smooth, I did well. Reality: struggle indicates real thinking. Highly educated people often score lower on culture-free IQ tests than on verbal tests. This reveals what? Options: IQ tests are culturally biased. No matter what, education teaches language, not pure reasoning. Abstract reasoning requires no background, so education can't scaffold it. The tests are poorly designed. The correct answer is abstract reasoning requires no background, so education can't scaffold it. Education builds verbal scaffolding, you can lean on it. Pure pattern solving strips that away. No dictionary, no context, no learned frameworks. Raw reasoning exposed. Intuition: smarter people always score higher. Truth: knowledge sometimes masks reasoning gaps. Why do people who skip hard questions strategically often score higher than those who attempt every problem? Options: they manage time better. Skipping reduces test anxiety. Wrong answers actively destroy IQ scores more than blanks. Penalty structure punishes guessing. They're smarter about knowing their limits. The correct answer is wrong answers actively destroy IQ scores more than blanks. Penalty structure punishes guessing. Most IQ tests deduct points for errors. A blank is neutral, a wrong answer is damage. This inverts intuition completely. The optimal strategy isn't attempting everything, it's knowing your threshold and stopping. Intuition: answer more questions, higher score. Reality: sometimes doing less wins.